Coming up on today's episode of One Way Sports, it's a Wednesday, which means we got a loaded college football show for you, but there was two Monday night games as well, but lots of college football. First, we're going to react to the Alabama-Georgia game, a couple other games, and then I'm going to do some Heisman standouts and some team shoutouts. We'll do a quick update of the top 12, see where teams moved after pretty crazy busy weekend, some highlight, plays all over the map in college football and in the NFL, but we talked about the NFL on Monday. Today is about college football. We will talk a little bit about Jared Goff in the Monday night football games that occurred, the Lions and Seahawks game, and then quarterly review time. So obviously there's 17 games now. It used to be 16. So it's we're going to do this kind of a quasi quarterly review. We're going to take a look back at all the teams that I picked to win the division and where they stand after 4 weeks. Where's my confidence level? Do I think some of them are locked up? Where, just projecting, am I making a change to my picks? You get it. We're going to do a quarterly review, kind of see where all the teams I picked to win the divisions are at. And then, as promised on Monday, we are going to do a segment about professional golf. The President's Cup just happened this weekend, and it got me thinking about we need more team events, but we don't need them in the live golf fashion. We need to figure out a way to fix this and get everybody back together playing, because even though the President's Cup wasn't super competitive, you can feel that there's opportunity there because there's a bunch of live guys that were gone. I'm going to save that for later, but we're going to fix professional golf, in my opinion, kind of introduce what they should do in terms of team golf and how to make it marketable and more, appealing to fans that are casuals and less diehard, want to watch stroke play events. But that's all coming up later on the show. But we are going to start things off today with college football. Number 2, Georgia at number 4, Alabama. I told you it was going to be the best football game of the weekend, and I'm pretty sure if you watched it, you would agree that there's no doubt that was the best football game of the weekend. Alabama wins 41-34. This game lived up to the hype and then some. My goodness, is this SEC football to a T at its best. I mean, game day was there. Nick Saban was back. You name it, it had everything. I have a friend that went to Alabama, and he said he had really never seen T-Town and Tuscaloosa like that for that game. And we talked a little bit after the game, and you could just feel that there was a going into the game, and from an outsider looking in, it felt like Alabama and their fans knew that they find out where they stand after Nick Saban on that night Saturday. And they were going to find out what we are with DeBoer. Are we still the Alabama that we've been for the last 17 years or however long Nick Saban was there? They found out quickly within the first quarter, this is still Bama, and it's still built by. And Jalen Milroe had one of the best first halves I've ever seen a quarterback play. Here's the stats for you: 18-21, 199 yards, a touchdown and an interception, and then 106 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. If you watch the game, it was ridiculous. The dude was just running like sideline past, like not even vertical. He was running horizontal past people and then going up the field on people. That second rushing touchdown, the longer one he had, the casual stiff arm, and then just the, hey, I'm gonna beat all these DBs to the end zone. Nick Saban told a story on game day, or maybe Herb Street or Fowler told it on the broadcast, but they would always ask Saban, which one's your fastest guy on the team, blah, blah, blah. And he always used to say Jalen Milroe is the fastest player on our team. And you always know Bama has some crazy speed guys, but to say that about your quarterback was ridiculous. But what was most impressive in that first half, in my opinion, was his accuracy. I mean, he was throwing the ball well, dotting the ball up, only 3 incompletions. The one interception he threw was kind of dumb, and they could have gone up even more if he hadn't thrown that one. But it was without that interception, you would call it a perfect half, but it's as close to it as I've seen. Best I've ever seen Milroe play, for sure. It looked like he was like you were at home playing the video game with him. I mean, just ridiculous stuff going on. Bama just ambushed them from the jump. I mean, it was quick. It was 28-0 in a blink of an eye. I mean, Alabama scored on their first 4 drives. I'm pulling up the numbers here. Yeah, they go 8 plays, 70 yards, and 450 right off the bat, and you're going, whoa. people don't really do that to Georgia's defense. I believe that was the first touchdown that Georgia's defense has given up all year. So that lets you know that Bama was here, that the building was just insane. Georgia goes, 4 plays and a punt. And then, Bama scores again, 14-0. It was absurd how fast they jumped on him. Carson Beck looked he looked like I don't want to say seeing ghosts out there, but Bama was just all over his ass from the jump. I mean, he throws an interception on the second drive in the third play after Bama goes 6 plays, 84 yards in 3 minutes. I mean, they are just marching down the field on Georgia. 14-0 in the first, 8-10 minutes of the game. And then Bama, after the interception, 3 plays, 22 yards, touchdown, 21-0, blink of an eye. And it's just like, whoa. Is Bama because you had to think Bama would maybe falter a little bit without Saban? No. They might have the best quarterback in college football. I don't know if he's going to go number 1 in the draft, but he might be the best quarterback in college football. And Bama builds it to 30-7 at the half, because of that, because of the safety that they got. And then it was game on pretty much. Punt, both teams go 3 and out to start. Georgia gets a touchdown. It's 30-15 now. They go for 2. And that's when my buddy who was at the stadium just goes, everything kind of started to feel a little bit different because they know better than anybody like what this team is. And this is a team that had won 40 straight regular season games in Georgia, and they weren't going to just quit on themselves. And so then Bama kicks the field goal. It's 33-15. They get a little bit of breathing room, but they haven't scored a touchdown in a while. They haven't put together a touchdown drive in a while. And then Georgia just goes, hey, this is why we're Georgia. 33-15, they fumble. They get lucky. Bama punts it back. They go touchdown. Bama punts it. Touchdown. 33-28, just like that. Bama punts it again. And then this is the moment that, we'll all remember. It's 2 plays in about a minute and, 10-minute 05 span. Georgia 1 play, 67 yards. I believe that's the Bell touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, the second Dylan Bell touchdown, the one where he spins through those guys, breaks off the tackles, and gets to the end zone. They don't get the 2-point conversion, so they're only up 1. But hey, they just shocked the world coming back and on the road doing this to Bama. And then, of course, the Ryan Williams touchdown. I mean, what was that? Have you ever seen anything like that? I've seen it 100 times since, and it gets better like every single time. There's 4 different ridiculous things to the play. It's the catch. It's the when he lands to spin his body as fast as he does. If you missed that part, I mean, I don't know if you did because you've probably seen it as much as I have. But watch after he catches it. He's turned towards the sideline and how fast he whips his body around. And then he starts running. And then it's the pirouette matrix shit that he pulls off with the spin move. And then it's the speed to break away. I mean, it was special stuff. And I don't know if you've heard. Maybe it's the first time you're hearing this. But I think he's 17 years old. I mean, of course, I'm kidding. We heard that enough, but it's still insane that he's 17 years old. And I found out yesterday that he's Serena Williams' cousin or nephew, one of the two. I believe it's cousin, which is just like, of course he's related to Serena Williams, and he's doing stuff like this. Kid's supposed to be a senior in high school right now and just beat Georgia. And he had another insane catch, the batted up, bobbled one to get him to stop. He finished with 6 catches, 177 yards, and a touchdown. So he had 5 catches for 100 before that, and then he goes 1 play, 75 yards. We're Bama. We're going to win. Now, Georgia still had an opportunity to go win this game, and they were marching down the field in the red zone pretty much, and then back through the interception in the end zone to Xavier Brown, another true freshman, both wearing number 2. True freshman offense, Ryan Williams makes the game-winning touchdown. True freshman defense, Xavier Brown makes the game-winning interception. It's just a hell of a win by Bama. It was an incredible football game from start to finish. Milroe finishes with 27-33, 374, 4 total touchdowns, and then the interception. He had 117 on the ground too. They slowed him down significantly in the second half. I don't know if Bama took their foot off the gas a little bit, if Georgia started to figure some things out. I know some Analysts have alluded to maybe Georgia started to piece some things together about what they were seeing from Alabama. It'll be interesting when and if we get to see them play a second time. I'd be shocked if we end this season without them playing a second time. Carson Beck figured it out a little bit in the second half there, started throwing touchdowns, started giving his wide receivers opportunities to make plays, but he was so bad in the first half. I mean, he finishes with 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions, and a fumble. But it would have been crazy if he won that game because I don't know. I wonder how people would have remembered how he played. Milroe deserved to win that game. He jumps to the Heisman favorite, which we'll talk about later. He jumped to the Heisman favorite live odds, actually, I believe, in the first or second quarter. At one point during the first half, his live odds jumped to the favorite, which is where he stands right now. Incredible football game. And I thought it was funny, if you were watching the TV and you caught this, when the guy went and gave Nick Saban like a fist bump, it was either when they went up 21 or 28. Nick Saban just kind of had this smug look on his face. He's like, you guys have no idea who's on that other sideline, do you? Because I think Saban kind of knew it's like, this is rat poison territory where if we don't keep our foot on the gas, they could easily get back in the game, which is what they did. And what an incredible football game. The SEC is just so different than everything else. You watch that game and you just go, there's NFL guys everywhere. It's just absurd. I thought if you've watched a bunch of college football in the last decade during this Bama run, that looked like a vintage Bama defensive line. Really did. Now, their secondary isn't Minka Fitzpatrick, Patrick Surtain, and all these other guys kind of level right now, but they're also super young, and that it could be scary. I mean, they have true freshmen playing out there. They had guys making plays, but their linebacking, their front seven, their linebackers and D-line, my goodness, that looks like Bama again. And you don't really know any of the names like right off the top of your head, like the guys that used to jump out to you, like a Reggie Ragland or a Reuben Foster or all the defensive linemen they've had, Deron Payne, Quinnen Williams, just you can name all the guys that Bama has put into the league on those two levels, but they don't exactly have the big name guys yet. We might find out who they are during this season, but they have depth, which is probably scarier. I can't stop. I haven't stopped thinking or watching that Ryan Williams touchdown. It's just ridiculous every time I see it. And then when you just listen to, shout out Chris Fowler. Just he's such a good college football announcer. And when he raises his, inflection levels when, he says touchdown, it felt like a national championship game watching it because of the way Fowler and Herbstreit were calling it, the ebbs and flows of it, the level of play by both teams. Bravo. Just, shout out. And this is the beauty of the new college football is we get to enjoy that game knowing that one of these teams' season isn't like do or die now for the rest of the way, which is just beautiful. I thoroughly enjoy it. And I think once we start to get more and more used to these big games happening and, week 3, week 5, week 6, week 8, whatever the case may be, these like top 5 matchups, 2 versus 4, I think we'll start to enjoy them even more knowing that we might get 2 of them like we do in the NFL. When you see a great, Chiefs and Bills game, you're like, I hope we get another one in the playoffs. It's the same thing we should be wanting here in college football, and I'm glad we got the first one, and I hope we get the second one either in the SEC championship game or just straight up in the college football playoff, which would be nuts. But Bama beats Georgia at home, 41-34. Massive win for Caleb DeBoer. The win that now, in pen is he's the Alabama head coach. He showed it. They proved it. What a win. Georgia's going to be just fine, I think. They got to figure some things out for sure. They don't have as many weapons offensively as they used to in the past. Everyone's like, well, they don't have Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey, and, of course they don't. Those dudes are making plays on Sundays for their respective teams in the AFC West. So they got to figure it out on the outside, get some playmakers, and see if they can't run that rock a little bit more. But Bama was the better team on Saturday. It was kind of a tale of two halves, but hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did, because that was the best football game of the weekend. All right, next college football game I wanted to talk about was the upset of the weekend, which was Ole Miss losing to Kentucky at home. Kentucky unranked, Ole Miss in the top 8. I think they were 6 or 7 during this game. I believe they were 6 because I think Miami was 7. But regardless, they were in the top 8. And nobody expected them to lose this game. Yeah, they were number 6. But Ole Miss deserved to lose that game. They had 8 penalties. Kentucky, much better than everybody thinks. They've only allowed 36 points in the last 3 weeks. And that is their first win in Oxford, Mississippi since 1978. And also the highest ranked win of Mark Stoops' career. He was rumored for the Texas A&M job, I'm pretty sure, and their fan base was kind of like, no. I mean, they got Mike Elko, who's a great coach for Texas A&M. They're 4-1, but I think Mark Stoops is a hell of a coach. I thought they could have, maybe should have beat Georgia, but they didn't. You know, kind of just is what it is. But they proved in that game that they were going to be a formidable problem. And what's so funny about this game is that Ole Miss from the jump looks like, I mean, from the first drive, they look like, oh, okay, this is going to be an Ole Miss shellacking. 6 plays, 83 yards in 2 minutes, and it's 7-0. The issue with that is the rest of the half, they had 17 plays, and they had 31 total net yards after that. This is supposed to be one of the best offenses in college football with Jackson Dart, with Lane Kiffin, with Trey Harris, and all the weapons they have. They just completely stalled out, and credit to Kentucky's defense, who obviously, you know, played well against Georgia. So it's not the first time we've seen this defense stymie an SEC offense. But Kentucky gets a field goal right after Ole Miss scores a touchdown on the opening drive, which has to be so important just to get points right after that. Because if they go 3 and out there, or they don't sustain a drive, and Ole Miss, the stadium gets rocking, and they get 1 first down on that next drive, then things can start to, snowball. But teams trade punts after that, and then Kentucky has a beautiful drive right before the end of half. 13 plays, 81 yards in about 6 minutes, and they take the lead into halftime in a game where, nobody was picking them. I think they were 15.5 or 16.5 point underdogs. And so they're up 3 at the half in great shape. And Ole Miss just can't make plays. They just can't make plays, and that's because Kentucky just pretty much had the ball not pretty much. They had the ball the whole game. They had the ball for almost 40 minutes while Ole Miss had it for 20. If your offense isn't sustaining drives and you're sitting on the sideline for such an extended period of time, you have to get first downs or you won't find any rhythm. It's just that simple. But the crazy thing is Kentucky, or excuse me, Ole Miss probably still could have. They definitely could have. They should have won this game, but that's the balance of a ball. It's Ole Miss ties the game 10-10. Kentucky next drive 13-10. Ole Miss fumbles in a scoring position, give up points there. They end up getting their touchdown to go up 17-13. Teams trade 4 straight punts after that, and then Kentucky's driving, and they're in the red zone. Guys running in, their running backs running in, gets hit, ball's out, goes right to the tight end, falls in to the end zone. And man, Kentucky just got a break there that Ole Miss didn't, and it kind of felt like the football gods were like, no, Ole Miss hasn't played good enough to win this game. But in the end, they still had a chance to tie the game and go to overtime. Kicker hooks one. Or pull, a hook or pull, I can't remember. I mean, put it left for sure. And that's it. Kentucky's first win in Oxford since 1978. I don't understand how Kentucky is not better at football. I think now that Calipari is not the head basketball coach at Kentucky, I know Kentucky basketball will still always be above Kentucky football, but like maybe a little bit of those resources, just like a couple, get thrown into that football program to Mark Stoops, because that dude can coach. He can. I like the way he's operated at Kentucky. I mean, they win games, 8-9 games. They go 3 for 3 in the red zone on Saturday and 3 for 3 on fourth down, and that's what wins them the game. Kentucky also on that touchdown drive had that massive 4th and 7 play where they just threw it up to their receiver, and then he makes the man miss and then takes it, for an extra bunch of yards. That was right before the fumble recovery. I forgot to mention that. I forgot about the 4th and 7 play. Just threw it up to the guy. He made a jump ball play and then just broke a tackle, and he was almost off to the races. And I guess I read that Kentucky's fan base was upset that Mark Stoops wasn't more aggressive in the Georgia game, trying to go for it instead of punt, and he did it on Saturday against Ole Miss, and it leads to a win. So shout out to Mark Stoops in Kentucky. Dangerous team in the SEC that'll play you tough. Even if you're going to beat them, it ain't going to be it's going to be a 60-minute fight, a rock fight out there. Their quarterback, what's his name? It's Vander something. Vandegrift. 18 to 28, 243 yards and a touchdown. He made some huge throws and made plays when he absolutely had to. Jackson Dart had 261 and a touchdown as well. The playmakers for Ole Miss made plays when they were given opportunities. They just couldn't sustain drives. And shout out to Kentucky for being able to run that rock a little bit and just keep their offense on the field and slow down Ole Miss and pick up a victory. Got to give them credit. Hung tough with them. Held Ole Miss to 14 first downs. 1 of 10 on third down. That's how you beat a high-profile offense. On the road as the underdog. What a win for Kentucky. 20-17 for them. They moved to 3-2. And that's Ole Miss's first loss of the season. And actually, let me pull up Ole Miss's schedule because they could end this. They could miss the playoff now. They play at South Carolina this upcoming weekend. Then they go at LSU week after that. Home for Oklahoma, or they have a bye after LSU. Home for Oklahoma, at Arkansas, and then Georgia. So there's 3 games still in there, and I would say 4 because South Carolina is going to be tough at home at a 12:30 kickoff or what is that? 12:30 kickoff Pacific time. Those Gamecock fans are going to be fired up, and then you got to go at LSU at night in BR, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which pretty much every single college football neutral that I've ever talked to, or not talked to, but listened to, have said that there's no atmosphere in sports, especially college football, like Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at a night game. So they got to go into that environment as well, and I'm not picking them to win that game. And then and I'm not picking them to beat Georgia. So there's 2 more losses right there for you. I think Ole Miss might have just fucked themselves with that loss to Kentucky. Lane knows he's in a bad spot, and they're going to have to respond in a big, big way because they were looking really good, and now they're in trouble because Texas is better than them in the SEC, Georgia's better than them in the SEC, Alabama's better than them in the SEC, and Tennessee's better than them in the SEC. They are now the 5th best team in the SEC. Without that Kentucky loss, it's a little bit of a different conversation because you don't have that doubt. Now you do. And Lane's never really been the guy to get his team over the hump in the biggest situations. They always falter in some weird area, and you thought, okay, it's not as big this year if they falter early. Well, it's to Kentucky. It's not to LSU or South Carolina. So we'll see what happens with Ole Miss going forward, but I'm predicting them to miss the playoff after this loss unless some weird stuff happens. Shout out to Kentucky one last time. 20-17 win on the road against number 6 Ole Miss. Now let's get to the Friday game. If any of you guys caught this, I still don't know what happened at the end of the game. And I'm talking about Virginia Tech at number 7 Miami. Miami escapes 38-34. Back and forth all damn night. 14-7 after the first quarter. Miami leads 24-17 at halftime. Georgia Tech responds with 3 scoring drives, a field goal right before half, and then Miami got a field goal right before half as well to make it 24-17. But two cousins playing quarterback against each other in this game, Cam Ward and then his cousin Drones, Kyron Drones. That game was sick. If you watched it, it was awesome. I'm not a giant college football like projecting what teams are unranked to be great, but it seemed like a lot of people thought Georgia Tech was going to be really, or not Virginia Tech, excuse me, was going to be really good in the ACC, and they just haven't been. And they battled Miami all night on the road on a Friday night in the weather. It was hot down there, and it came down to the last play. Let's just talk about it. I mean, it's thrown up into the end zone. Initially ruled as a touchdown on the field. Now, I was texting my buddy during this entire sequence, and neither one of us was just like, was sure what was going to happen. But we both kept coming back to the fact that they ruled it a touchdown on the field. Now, I still don't know if it was a catch because you can't really see anything. But they ruled it a touchdown on the field. So I don't know. Usually in the NFL or in any football, if they go to replay review, you have to have conclusive evidence to overturn a call. But they didn't. So you either have to confirm that it was a catch, or you have to say the ruling on the field stands, which means there's not enough evidence, or the ruling on the field is overturned. It is ruled that the receiver did not have possession of the ball. You get it if you've watched enough football. They didn't say any of that stuff. They just said the ruling on the field is overturned or not a catch anymore. The game is over. Miami wins. It was just like, wait, what just happened? But I kept coming back to, they ruled it a touchdown on the field. How do you overturn it? I feel like Virginia Tech kind of got screwed, but I also think Miami deserved to win the game because I don't know if it was a catch. But the referee, like I said, called it a touchdown on the field. I'm still confused, as you can probably hear in my voice. I still am confused. I don't really know what happened in that game. I still don't know what happened at the end of the game. It was wild though, because people, like if you were on Twitter watching this play out in real time, you're seeing everybody react to it. Oh my God, touchdown. And then you refresh your page one more time, and then it's just like, rule touchdown on the field for now. Everyone's like posting the video. And then you refresh it a third time, and it's like, oh my God. And you're seeing either people say they got screwed, good call, bad call, what just happened, what the fuck, like all this stuff. So now it was a phenomenal game. Cam Ward and his cousin Drones both went off. Cam Ward had 4 touchdowns, 2 picks, 343 yards. His cousin had 189 yards. Kyron Drones, 189 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. They both played well. They both were moving the ball, made clutch plays. It felt like Drones was going to get, I mean, if he completes that throw, he gets over 200 yards passing. He throws a 3rd touchdown pass, and they win the game. Now, the running back for Virginia Tech played great as well. I don't know how to say his first name. Tootin, I think, is how you say his last name. I don't even really know how to pronounce his name, but he was balling. Let me get his final stat line right here for you. 19 carries, 141 yards, and 2 tugs. So it was a great ACC game, and I believe I saw it was the second most watched Friday night ESPN college football game like of all time, which just showed you how great the game was. And I'm sure people caught wind of it. I started watching it from the jump, and Virginia Tech went down the field and scored right away. And so I was like, okay, well, this is going to be a ball game. Miami obviously comes back and scores two touchdown drives of their own. And then Virginia Tech comes right back, and I'm like, okay, so this is going to be a football game, the whole game or the whole night. And it was great. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And my buddy texted me during the fourth quarter. He's like, are you watching this Virginia Tech Miami game? I was like, fuck yeah, I am. This thing's awesome. So shout out to just a crazy finish. I still don't know what happened. I didn't think it was a catch, but like I said, they ruled it a catch on the field. I can see both ways, or both teams being, Virginia Tech being upset and Miami being like, he didn't even catch the ball anyway. So regardless, great football game. Miami wins 38-34. They stay undefeated, most importantly, and now they have to go to Cal Berkeley for game day. Some conspiracy theorists out there saying, ESPN, game day. Miami playing on ESPN. Was a little phone call made? I don't know. You tell me. Wouldn't be surprised, but also that would be pretty funny if a conspiracy like that came out to be true. But it is funny when these things happen because it's only in college football when when stuff like this happens, people immediately go to the conspiracy route. But they are going to Berkeley. Cal is undefeated, 5-0. Both teams 5-0. Or excuse me, Cal's not undefeated. They're 3-1. What am I talking about? I don't know why I thought Cal was undefeated. Where did I hear that? Regardless, Cal. Oh, they just lost to Florida State. I'm really not sure why they're going to Cal. I guess Cal is live right now. Maybe I'm not that tuned in. Maybe some real college football heads are going to come at me for that, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Some other games this weekend before we get to the Heisman Standouts. UCLA will get killed by Penn State. You got Texas A&M, Missouri. That's decent. Iowa, Ohio State. Sign me up for 60 minutes of that. I already told you about Ole Miss, South Carolina. Georgia and Auburn's a decent game. Not great, but decent slate this weekend. Nothing. Yeah, I guess that's why they are going to Miami and Cal. Makes sense. And they've never been to Berkeley before either. I believe there's only 4 schools now that have never, 5 power conferences that have never hosted game day. But Heisman watch standouts time. So your favorite is Jalen Milroe at plus 250. I told you he moved to that in the middle of the first half of that game. So it doesn't surprise me. I mean, he has the biggest win of the season and the most high-profile win. They still have more big-time games to play. They still have to play Tennessee, which will be a primetime game. They still have to play Missouri, LSU, and Oklahoma. And then, of course, the Iron Bowl, which we all know what happened last year, which, was just absurd shit that happened in that Iron Bowl last year. But Milroe's got almost 1,000 yards passing, 10 touchdowns, and an interception. And then on the ground, he has 273 yards and 8 touchdowns. So he's got 18 touchdowns through 4 games. Kid looks ridiculous out there. I mean, you've played the video game. He looked like a video game. And a lot of people thinking he might have changed his entire draft stock on Saturday. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's a first-round quarterback now because he might need some development. But, man, you don't have athletes like that everywhere. It could be another Anthony Richardson situation, but Milroe's played so much more football than him. So he is the favorite right now at plus 250. I think it's going to be hard to unseat him because of the moments that he can have in some of these big games and the numbers that, there's 18 touchdowns already. Like what is that number going to get to? What is his total yardage going to end at? He's just going to have a lot of moments that we remember, like the run, because he's going to run and he's going to throw. It's like when Cam Newton and Lamar and to an extent when Baker and Kyler won it, there's so many like running highlights where you just less about Baker, more Kyler in this argument, and Mariota's the other one I was thinking about. Those guys, like you see so many run highlights that just they stay in your head, and it's just Heisman moment. They always talk about Heisman moment. Number 2 on the list is Cam Ward at plus 500. I just don't know if he's going to be in enough high-profile games to win it. He's going to have to put up gaudy numbers to go get it. They got to go undefeated, in my opinion, as well, if he wants to win it. Cal, Louisville, Florida State, Duke, Georgia Tech, Wake Forest, Syracuse is the rest of their schedule. None of that really jumps out to me. I guess maybe a game against Clemson in the ACC championship or something might be able to you know, get him his moment over the edge. But there's not really any high profile teams in the ACC besides them this year, and they almost lost to Va Tech. So, well, I don't see it being Cam Ward. Let's talk about the two guys that deserve the most love through 5 weeks of college football. Travis Hunter plus 700. I'm just gonna read you his stats, and then I'm gonna go off about him. 46 catches, 561 yards, and 6 touchdowns on offense this year. 3 pass deflections, a forced fumble, and 2 interceptions. I don't have the exact number of snap count, like total number of snaps he's played this season in front of me, but it feels like every week on Saturday he plays a game. You see him catch a touchdown. You see him make crazy plays on defense. And then the stat number comes out about how many snaps he played after. It's like 130 to 140 every single Saturday. I'm a big UFC fan. The cardio and stamina it takes to be a fighter is evident. What this dude is doing is probably pretty similar to that. Because this dude's like in a 5-round fight every game. I mean, he's playing offense, catching the ball, getting hit, running routes, running full speed, being a decoy, blocking, doing everything that a wide receiver does at an elite level, remember. And then on defense, he's the best corner on his team, maybe the best corner in the country. And he's locking dudes up, making pass breakups, making tackles, forcing fumbles, getting interceptions. It's freak show stuff. You've never seen anything like it. Anybody who tells you they've seen something like it is a liar. Because even Dion said, yeah, I've never seen anything like it. Charles Woodson said, when he was talking to Dion before the game on Saturday, I was watching the pregame, he said, me and you used to dibble and dabble on offense. This dude's a full-blown wide receiver one. And a shutdown corner. He's the Heisman Trophy winner if Colorado keeps winning at this pace. They're 4-1 right now. He's balling. They're winning. He's making plays. Highlight reel stuff. You saw the Heisman on Saturday. The kid's different. Football players are such different special athletes, man. But what Travis Hunter is doing, playing both ways at such a high level. You have everyone in the country, I like to lean on, the coaches that have coached the Nick Sabans and the guys that are on TV talking about this. They say the same stuff, man. Kirk Herbstreit's been covering this thing for 30 years. Desmond Howard's won a Heisman. Like, come on. They're all saying the same stuff. It's one freak show things that this guy does every week. Right now, he is my Heisman Trophy winner. If they stay winning like this and the numbers are pretty even across the board for all 4 guys, I think you got to give it to Travis Hunter, man. Like, nobody's doing what he's doing on both sides of the ball. Now, you got to remember the last time a quote-unquote defensive player won the Heisman was Charles Woodson over Peyton Manning. I don't know, maybe Jalen Milroe at the end of the year is viewed as like a college football Tennessee Peyton Manning at the end of the year, just putting up the numbers that he did and being as good. Let's say Bama rolls off undefeated to the SEC championship game. It'll be an interesting conversation, but I mean, Travis is doing something that quite literally nobody in the sport can say they're doing. Cam Ward and Jalen Milroe can both say, yeah, we run for a lot of yards, we throw for a lot of yards, our teams win. Travis Hunter can say, my team doesn't win maybe ever without me, because they need his production on offense and they sure need his production on defense, although their defense did play a lot better on Saturday. The kid's so special to watch, and cannot wait to watch him at the next level. I'm curious to see if a team will let him be Shohei Ohtani. There was nobody that would let Shohei Ohtani be, or nobody would let somebody play both ways in the MLB, or maybe nobody was good enough since Babe Ruth. We've never really seen another guy. Charles Woodson dabbled a little bit in the NFL. Dion, of course, a little bit in the NFL. If I'm forgetting somebody, let me know in the comments that played both ways a little bit. But kid might be good enough, man. I don't know which position he's better at. It's easier to see him make plays as a wide receiver, just as a football fan, because corner is a much different, kind of position to evaluate and see what's happening. You can see the tackles he makes and the way he gets off blocks and the way he makes plays, pass breakups, and reading things with his eyes. It's freakish, man. He had that diving interception this week too. I love watching Travis Hunter play football. Just can't stress that enough. He's plus 700 to win the Heisman. That's not bad odds. You probably could have got him way better at the beginning of the year, but hey, plus 700 isn't the worst. Last guy I want to talk about. Let me drink my water real quick. Y'all been watching any Boise State football? Because my gosh, Ashton Jeanty, the running back, he's plus 1,000 to win the Heisman right now. He has 82 carries this year for 845 yards and 13 touchdowns. Do some simple math, that's 10 yards a carry and 13 touchdowns. He also missed the second half versus Portland State, where he still had over 100 yards rushing, but he didn't have any touchdowns. They let him play in the second half of that game. He probably has 1,000 yards and 15 touchdowns already. This dude, and if you watch the highlights, bro, holy shit. Holy shit. It is sick to watch this dude play football. I just caught some. I think he had 6 touchdowns this last weekend, if I'm not mistaken. He had 4. At least 4. 4 touchdowns. 26 carries, 259 yards, and 4 touchdowns along of 64 yards. He's 5'9", 215. And he's got breakaway speed. It's fucking sick to watch, dude. He started the season. It's telling me he had 6 touchdowns here against. Oh, that was in the first game of the year. First game of the year, he opens with 20 carries, 267, 6 touchdowns. That's right, I got him mixed up. Then he has 25 for 192 and 3 touchdowns. Then the game he gets pulled, 11 carries for 127, no touchdowns. And then he goes 26 for 259 and 4 touchdowns. It's just absurd. Absurd. I don't watch the full Boise State games because, as you can see, they've kind of blown a couple of these teams out. They lost to Oregon. But the reason they were in that Oregon game is because this dude was running rampant on them. 192 and 3 touchdowns against Oregon is no joke. Now, it's very hard for a group of 5 conference player to win the Heisman. But if he can put up... Man, what's the number? He's already at 13 touchdowns through 4 games. Really, he has 13 touchdowns in 3 games. I'm going to say he's going to have to get to like 2,200 yards and like 27 touchdowns maybe. I don't know. Let me find out what Derrick Henry's numbers were when he won the Heisman. Because I believe Derrick Henry was the last one to win the Heisman as a running back. Yeah, it's going to take a lot. It is going to take a lot. I don't know, man. It's just, you guys got to give him a watch. Got to give him a look because he's worth it. And it's fun to watch. And Boise State's ranked right now, and they're playing good football. Why not? They're 3-1. Got a game at Hawaii. They play Utah State this weekend. You know? Go ahead. Tune in. Why not? That does it for your Heisman Standouts. I hope Travis Hunter win the award. Let's get to the team shout-outs real quick. Shout-out Duke. Blue Devils, undefeated, 5-0. First time since 1994 with Manny Diaz. Not just a basketball school, I guess. Not just a basketball school. BYU's undefeated. They're 5-0. 38-9 win over number 13 Kansas State over the weekend. Forced 3 turnovers, made Avery Johnson look really bad. BYU, undefeated. Dangerous looking team. They're physical too. Indiana and Rutgers. Both Indiana's 5-0. Rutgers is 4-0. Big Ten has 5 undefeated teams. Shout out Greg Schiano. And shout out Kirk Cignetti. Cignetti is, of course, the Indiana coach. And Schiano is the Rutgers coach. Cignetti came over from James Madison. Has Indiana 5-0. Rutgers 4-0, baby. And they just beat Washington. Love what I'm seeing from both those teams. Sick for both those programs. Army and Navy, both 4-0. The reason I'm telling you about this now, we could see 2. Yes, I mean 2 Army-Navy games this year. We could see the Army-Navy game, and then the next week, I believe, would be Conference Championship Week, which we could see them play in the don't get me wrong, but don't get it twisted, but I believe they're both in the American now. They are. They're both in the American now. We could see, let me check the schedule real quick. Army-Navy is week 16, December 9th. Conference Championship is the week before. So we could see the Conference Championship Army-Navy, and then we could see the Army-Navy game. I got them flip-flop my weeks. What could that look like? A double Army-Navy game 2 weeks in a row? Holy shit. Hell yeah, America. America. That's football, baby. Right before Christmas, gets 2 Army-Navy games. I'm hoping that happens, kind of. All right, let's check out the new top 12 in the country. Alabama. We're just going to go off the AP poll this week. We're not going to go off the coaches poll anymore. We're just going to go off the AP poll, which is not great. I wish we just had a college football, I wish we just had a college football committee ranking every week. And if we do have that and I haven't seen it yet, please let me know. Alabama, number 1 team in the country. 40 AP votes. Now the coaches, they still think it's Texas. Texas is number 2 in the AP poll. Alabama is number 2 in the coaches poll. So it's basically just AP basically says that you guys got the biggest win. We're going to put you number 1. Coaches say, hey, Texas still has, proven that they're the best overall team. Both of them have Ohio State at 3, both Tennessee at 4, both Georgia at 5, both have Oregon at 6, both have Penn State at 7, both have Miami at 8, Missouri and Michigan 9 and 10. The AP moved Ole Miss down to 12 and USC to 11. And the coaches have Ole Miss 11, LSU 12. So something to note there on a little bit of just kind of what the coaches are seeing and whatnot. BYU, I just mentioned them. They're ranked 17. Boise State moved up to 21 this week. Indiana goes from unranked to 23. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. That's all the college football I have for you today. Let's get to some Monday Night Football. How about it, huh? Lions beat the Seahawks 42-29. I'm really not going to dive too deep into this game because it's all about one man and one man only. And that's my MVP preseason pick, Jared freaking Goff, man. 18 of 18 for 292 yards and 2 touchdowns. Most completions without an incomplete pass in NFL history. First player in NFL history, 75% completion percentage, 200 yards passing, and little receiving touchdown for you, huh? What a dot from Amon-Ra on that throw. And how about the late hands over the shoulder, Jared Goff touchdown reception. And boy, was that stadium loud when they were chanting Jared Goff's name. The last time a team had a 100% completion percentage as just a whole team, not just a quarterback, was the 1942 Giants. They went 1 of 1 passing, and that was on the first fucking play from scrimmage. The Lions go 19 of 19 if you count the Amon-Ra pass last night, which is the first time a team's gone perfect since 1942, except they threw 18 more. They had 18 more completions. The Lions offense was flat humming last night. 6 total touchdown drives, but the game was either sloppy or the refs just loved being on TV on Monday, because there was 21 combined penalties for 171 yards. So both teams were aided by the help of the penalty. Now, let's talk about the pick play at the end of the game, because if you watched it, you know this game was... Now, it was 21-7, at the half, but you kind of felt like the way both offenses were playing that Seattle would probably get themselves back into this game. And I believe that both these teams, the last 3 or 4 times they've played, at least one of them scored 40 in every single one of them, if not both of them. Joe Buck and Troy were talking about that on the broadcast. I don't have the exact number of points for you exactly, but Seattle comes out in the third quarter, gets a touchdown, 21-14. Jared Goff responds. Kenneth Walker comes back. And then the Jameson Williams 70-yard touchdown kind of is where you felt like, this game's probably over now, because it's a one-play 70-yard touchdown in 11 seconds, and the dude's high-stepping like Dion into the end zone. Kenneth Walker did have 3 touchdowns last night, and then the Amon-Ra pass was when was the Jared Goff touchdown catch? Yeah. It was in the third quarter. That was what put them up 28-14. Just they always know how to put like a momentum play into the playbook to always get their crowd back into the game. If they ever feel like they just need a little bit of a spice play, they usually don't do it in the red zone, but to do it there was sick, and they said they'd been working that for weeks. Amon-Ra said he's the emergency third string quarterback. But after Kenneth Walker scores his 3rd touchdown of the game, Amon-Ra gets a touchdown from Jared Goff, and it's 42-27. Game's over from there. But I thought it was over 35-20. Seattle does score right away, and it was kind of hanging in the balance there for a little bit. And then the pick play happened, which was not a penalty. I mean, Ryan Clark didn't think it was a penalty. A lot of people didn't think it was a penalty. That was probably the most pissed I've ever seen Geno in a game before. They had the first down. I believe it was to Smith and Jigba, and it was Lockett. And it looked like the defenders more ran into each other than Lockett. Offensive pass interference on Lockett on that 3rd and 3 when it was 35-27. So that's why I felt like the game was over after that, because I forgot about the pick play. It was right before that. So sucks if you're Seattle. I mean, you did give up a lot of yards and you couldn't force an incompletion. They also, ran all over you. 516 total yards. 516 last night. Now, Seattle was down. They showed the graphic right before the game, like their 4 best defensive linemen. So, credit to them for staying in this game. Credit to Geno. And DK doesn't fumble that ball in the first half. Game and ebbs and flow of the game might be a little bit different. I mean, DK played a whale of a game, 7 for 104. He just had that one, mistake, which he's got to get down. Credit to Jack Campbell for punching that thing out. But I'm sorry, Seattle had 516 total yards last night, or on Monday. I lied to you. Seattle had 516. They only gave up 389, so it's even better. I'm sounding like an idiot right now. Seattle played really well. Detroit's offense was the better executing offense, and that's kind of what it came down to. Seattle had more yards, 28 more plays as well. So it shows you how efficient the Lions were. The Lions scored 42 points on 50 plays. Sheesh. That's pretty damn good. So both teams had 11 drives, but Seattle needed 78 plays to score 29. Detroit needed 50 to score 42. They're 3-1. Seattle's 3-1. Both teams are in great shape. Seattle's still top that division. They just got to get a little bit healthier on defense. David Montgomery was a freak show on Monday, bouncing off tacklers. Jahmyr Gibbs was great. Jamison Williams, big plays. Amon-Ra, nice to see Laporta back involved in the mix. Lions offense was so good on Monday night, and still one of the best in the NFL. No doubt about that. They win 42-29. And oh, by the way, the Titans, they also played a football game and they beat the Dolphins. I believe the final was 31-12 in that game. And that's your Titans-Dolphins recap. Yeah. Did you want me to talk about that game any longer? Because I'm not going to. Sorry about it. Titans get off the schneid. They are 1-3. And I believe the Dolphins are also 1-3. But no need to talk about that game any further. I'm not going to do an NFL recap or a wrap-up this week. You know, we got a bunch of college football, and we're doing the quarterly review instead. So before the season, I gave all my divisional picks in the season preview, and I figured let's just see where we stand, where the confidence level is at. Are they dead? Are they still alive? What do we where are we at? Where are we at? Let's do a little check-in before week 5. First week of bye weeks is this week. So we're going to start in the AFC. I picked the Chiefs to win the AFC West. Now they're undefeated. The only undefeated team in the AFC. And the rest of the division's 2-2. Confidence level is just as high as ever. They're 4-0 and they've played like shit, and Mahomes has not played well. The Chiefs are the Chiefs. They have massive injuries right now, though, which is could be the downfall for them. Mahomes has 6 touchdowns and 5 picks this season, by the way, if you were wondering, in case people were still, to Mahomes, sucking him off. He has not played well this season. He has said that himself as well. So do I still have faith the Chiefs are going to win the division as hard as it hurt as a Chargers fan? Like, yeah. They're 4-0 and they've not played really well in like pretty much any of these games. They could have lost to the Ravens, could have lost to the Bengals. Squeak out a win against the Chargers, who were hurt. We're not going to spend a bunch of time on this AFC West one because I have zero faith that the Raiders or Broncos can even sniff pushing the Chiefs in the division. Chargers are the only team, and I just don't know if we have the offensive weapons right now at the moment. We'll see how things shake out. Played them tough with Herbert on a high ankle. Made some plays, just didn't make enough of them. My confidence level in the Chiefs, if I had to put a number on it, 9.5 out of 10. To win the division, caveat to that statement, unless Mahomes gets hurt. Because then you got Carson Wentz playing football, and anything can fucking happen after that. If Mahomes is healthy, 9.5 confidence level. If Carson Wentz is playing, anything's possible, baby, like KG said. Let's go to the AFC North now. I picked the Bengals to go to the Super Bowl, and I certainly picked them to win this division. They're 1-3 after 4 weeks. The Ravens are 2-2, and the Steelers are 3-1. If you listen to Monday's podcast, you know where my confidence level is at on this. Because on Monday's podcast, my overreaction was that the Ravens are going to win the AFC North. Even though the Bengals beat the Panthers, do we think they really figured anything out? Offensively, I do not worry about them at all. Joe Burrow, if he's healthy, if he's got his receivers, Chase Brown looked great. Zach Moss made some plays. I think they're going to be fine. Yoshi Vas on the outside. I think they'll be fine offensively. Their defense is bad. And Trey Hendrickson got a stinger in the game. Don't know what his status is for this week. We'll talk about that more on Friday. But Bengals are in trouble. My confidence level that they can win the division, 1 out of 10. This team's just trying to make the playoffs at any means possible. So that's where I stand on my Bengals. They're also 0-2 in the AFC already, which does not bode well for them winning tiebreakers late down the stretch. Okay. AFC East. I picked the Jets. And I hate myself for picking the Jets. Confidence level is still decent, but I don't want to root against Josh Allen all season at all. I think Josh Allen's going to win the MVP, even with Sunday night's kind of blip in the matrix a little bit, or blip in the season. I don't know what it's called, but I don't want to root against Josh Allen to the whole season. Their defense, minus the Ravens game, has played well. And the Jets just lost to the fucking Broncos, 10-9 at home to Bo Nix. Confidence level in the Jets right now, about a 4. If they had a better coach, it would be a 6. It's a 4, and that's maybe generous. I'm going to put it at a 4.5 because they have Aaron Rodgers. But I've not liked the way Breece Hall has looked. Not like looked physically, just they can't get him open lanes. Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers don't seem to be on the same page. Let's see what happens with Devontae Adams. They get Devontae Adams, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I just don't trust their coach. Defense has got to play up to that standard every single week because they played well enough to win that game, of course. Their offense let them down, and the missed field goal as well. Confidence level in the Jets, 4.5 out of 10. Solace sucks. Hopefully Rodgers can play better this week. Last one, Texans. I told you after week 2 that this division was a wrap. Told you after week 2 this division was a wrap. My confidence level, 10 out of 10. This division is a wrap. Now, Colts are back to 2-2. And Houston is 3-1. Jacksonville 0-4. Tennessee, I'm not worried about at all. It's a two-man race. If Flacco plays for the Colts, if Flacco plays, what are they at? It's week 4. They have 13 more games left. If Flacco plays 5 of the final 13 games, my confidence level drops down to an 8. That's all I'm going to say about that. Otherwise, it's a 10 out of 10. If Anthony Richardson's playing, this is not a knock on Anthony Richardson. It's just they play a little bit more volatile, and there's a little bit more room for wins and losses to occur with Anthony Richardson than there is Joe Flacco, in my opinion. And Stroud and the Texans are just so consistent. We'll see. I just 10 out of 10 for the Texans as long as Anthony Richardson is playing quarterback for the Colts and not Flacco. I just think Flacco can operate that offense right now with the weapons they have better and more efficiently. Richardson, I do think, will get there. Hopefully by the end of the year, and he'll be ready to go big time next season. Okay. NFC now. Let's start with the NFC West. 49ers is who I picked. Confidence level is probably an 8 right now. The C-Mac stuff worries me a lot. But Jordan Mason has filled in nicely. They're a different run game. Not a different, but like different in the way teams are thinking the running back can be used, I should say. They don't like Mason's not as big of a receiving threat. They can't flip-flop him and Debo. You get what I'm saying. So hopefully they don't rush C-Mac back and then get him hurt again. I'd rather see Christian McCaffrey not play football this year and we get him healthy for the next 3 years of his career than see him come back too soon this year and his career's over as we know it. That's just a simple reality of the fact of being a sports fan. Sometimes you got to be patient. It's still an 8 out of 10. Seattle has looked great. Love what I see from Seattle. Arizona and the Rams are 1-3. It would take a lot. It would take a hell of a season for one of them to win the division. I think it's a two-man race between Seattle and the 49ers. If the 49ers can continue to get healthier, I know Fred Warner got hurt. Hufanga didn't play on Sunday either. They got Kittle back. They got Debo back. Ayuk needs to figure out if he wants to play football anymore because it doesn't really look like that out there at certain times. They still have Juwan Jennings. They still have all their weapons. I believe in Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers as long as their defense can continue to play well. 8 out of 10 for the 49ers. Seattle has shown me something. Through 4 games, though, I will give them that. Seattle has shown me something. Their offense can flat out go. Okay, well, sorry about that. Pick the Eagles to win the NFC East. Where's my confidence level in that team? Low. Can't be lower than the Jets because they have a better team. Do they? They're on the same exact wavelength. 4 out of 5. 4.5 is my confidence level in the Eagles. Number 1, Jalen Hurts hates Nick Sirianni. Maybe hate is too strong of a word. Jalen Hurts strongly. Fuck it. Jalen Hurts fucking hates Nick Sirianni. He does, bro. You cannot convince me otherwise. He hates playing for that dude. As a guy who grew up being raised from a football coach in Jalen Hurts, guy who went to Alabama, played for Nick Saban for 3 years at least, if not 4, and then went to Oklahoma. There's no way he respects the shit that Sirianni does, all the antics. There's no way. There is no way. Now, Jalen Hurts has to play better football straight up. End of story. He has to play better football. If they don't, Lane Johnson, I told you this stat on Monday, 14-24 lifetime without Lane Johnson. It's not good if they don't have Lane Johnson. Also, they have to get A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith back. They have to. Have to, because Saquon, otherwise, they don't really have skill. They don't have wide receivers after those two guys at that level to win at a premium level. Now, they have a bye week this week, so they should get everybody back healthy. You come out of the bye week, you have Cleveland, at New York, at Cincinnati, Jacksonville. You better win 3 of those games, if not 4. I'll give you the Cincinnati loss if they start to look better. But if you don't beat Cleveland, New York, and Jacksonville, we'll save it for if we get there, because I'm not going to go off on the Eagles on ifs and buts scenario. But they got a big 5-week stretch coming up. They got to quiet the noise in the bye week, and they got to go win some football games after that. But it's a 4 out of 5, and you know why it's a 4 out of 5. It's because that motherfucker Jaden Daniels is legit. Somebody, I think it was Damian Woody on Get Up, called him the best quarterback in the NFC. Now, that was before the Jared Goff performance. You know, Baker's played well this year. Sam Darnold's played great. Jaden obviously has played phenomenal. Geno has played great. Purdy's still good. He's not the best quarterback in the NFC yet, but man, is he balling. He might be playing better than anybody in the NFC right now. But I don't even know if I like Philly or Dallas better. They're both kind of like equally shittily average. But one of them hates their coach. I don't think the Cowboys hate their coach at all. I actually think Dak likes Mike McCarthy a lot. Jalen Hurts hates Nick Sirianni, and you can never convince me otherwise. 4 out of 5 confidence level. 4.5 confidence level in the fucking Eagles. Now, let's go to the NFC South. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 9.5. 9.5. I don't give a fuck if the Falcons are 2-2 and the Saints are 2-2. This Tampa Bay team, led by the Bake Show, Shake and Bake, is going to win this division. I said it before the season. Consistency and defense is what I liked about the Bucs. I don't know if I said that exactly, but it's what I feel in my heart is why I like them. Less up and down nature. Now, I understand they played like shit against the Broncos. We're going to toss that aside. Everyone has one of those games. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Two solid running backs. Rashad White, Bucky Irvin. Got a good tight end in Cade Otton. Defense is playing better. They can get Winfield back healthy. I think the Bucs are a great team. Great team in the NFC. And great might be, people take the word great way too seriously. Bucks are a very, very good team. Very good team. I would borderline say they're great, especially in the NFC. I don't believe in the Saints at all. Falcons are going to be the team that will push them. They will be. Falcons will be the team that'll push them. I'll be excited. When is that first Falcons-Bucks game? Oh, wouldn't you know it? It's this weekend. Beautiful. Oh, no, not this weekend. That game's on Thursday. Oh, yeah. That game's tomorrow. I'm recording this on Tuesday. Sorry. So we got Falcons-Bucks tomorrow, so I could look like an idiot a day after this comes out, but I believe in the Bucks. 9.5 out of 10 is my confidence level in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because they have Baker freaking Mayfield. I love that guy. NFC North now. Pick the Lions to win the Super Bowl and, of course, win this division. Now, the Vikings are 3-1, Lions are 3-3, and both other teams are 2-2. Jordan Love came back. We'll see, how he progresses with that knee injury, and we'll see how the Vikings. Now, I'm a firm believer in the Vikings. The Vikings have looked damn good. Got to see how the rest of this starts to play out, but we'll see. We'll see. They play each other in Week 7. Detroit and Minnesota do. This is definitely not a two-man race or anything like that. Like all of these teams, I think are even the Chicago a little bit is somewhat in it, but I think it's really 3. I still believe in Detroit. I'm going to say my confidence level is 9. We'll leave it. We'll put it at 9. There's some good teams in this division, man. Good teams in this division, but we're going to put it at a 9 for right now. So that is your quarterly review. And coming up right after this, so let's just go through it real quick. Bills are atop their division. Pittsburgh, Houston, Kansas City are your division leaders in the AFC through 4 weeks. Washington, Minnesota, Tampa Bay, Seattle. It's been good football through 4 weeks without a doubt. Good football through 4 weeks without a doubt. But that wraps up all of the football talk for today. I know this one's is a little bit of a longer episode, but lots of football that I wanted to talk about and get to. But now this is I've been really excited about this. I've been thinking about this for quite a while now. I went to a live golf event and I worked a live golf event, I should say, for them. And I wanted to get behind the ropes and see what it was like, to see kind of what the atmosphere was like. And I had some takeaways after watching the Ryder Cup last summer. And then, of course, the President's Cup this last weekend. I've cultivated this plan, or what I think fans would really love to see professional golf do, and bring the sport back together. So go ahead and enjoy this special kind of segment called Fixing Professional Golf. All right, let's jump into this Fixing Professional Golf segment. So I just mentioned that I worked a live golf event 2 years ago in Orlando when I was still in school, and I got to be inside the ropes for 3 days, and just carried a backpack, followed around a caddy, and make sure he was mic'd up every single day. And then I went to a PGA Tour event as a fan. The next year, I went to the Arnold Palmer Invitational, and then I went to the Players Championship. And you see the difference in the product for sure. Number one, the fans. There's so many more fans than Live has. But you also see just kind of the atmosphere of Live Golf compared to the PGA Tour. Obviously, it's significantly different. Shorts, music, you get the whole thing. But the level of golf is it's not the PGA Tour in terms of depth, but in terms of high level talent. It's still there. Now, I went when, before they had John Rahm and some of the guys they've signed in recent years, but it just got me thinking about, I like the team aspect of live golf match play. I don't like the cumulative score of it. I actually hate it. I think it's the dumbest thing to do. You're playing 4 individualized balls, and then we're just adding them up at the end. I think it's dumb, but that's beside the point. There's a foundation that I think we can build on with both of these tours, but it has to start with everyone going back primarily to the PGA Tour. Now, the players who left should have to pay a fee. Sure. Should maybe even be, maybe, I don't know what the case is. Maybe if they make the FedEx Cup, they get docked some points. We can figure that out. They can figure that out. But that's the first step. Everyone has to come back playing together on the PGA Tour. And let's be honest, there's only a certain number of premier events on the PGA Tour. They call them the signature events. But if you're a casual golf fan, you're watching 4 times a year. And it's the 4 majors, obviously. If we can bring people back together on the PGA Tour, it might be able to help build, a better foundation for the PGA Tour with having all the stars back together. Because anybody who's become a fan recently has just basically been like, well, where's this guy? Where's this guy? Where's this guy? That they all know from the majors. But I would like to see them all come back together on the PGA Tour. But this is my main proposition right here. What they should do with Live Golf is turn it into a Champions League style, just like they have in soccer. Soccer, you all have your own leagues. You all play your own stuff. And then they have the Champions League, where it's the best in the world. And it's obviously Champions League is a team event. What I think Live should be is team events only. Like real team events. Like what we saw at the President's Cup, like we see at the Ryder Cup. There's currently 13 teams at Live Golf. I think there should be 16. What's 16 times 4? 64 golfers. Great round number that everyone is familiar. 64 is the same as the March Madness bracket. 16 teams of 4 golfers gives us 64 golfers. That is the start right there. 16 different teams. Now, this is where you can either go, you put them in cities, like you attach like traditional sports does, like you would have like the Los Angeles whatever. Now, I know Tigers League, TGL, has started to do that already. So maybe that's out of the realm of possibility, or you lean more. I don't know. The teams have to be figured out. 16 of them. 16 teams. I think this TGL league, in my opinion, should form into what this is right here. Because this simulated golf, I don't know how many fans are going to watch that, to be honest. But we have to wait and see. 16 teams. I think they should be in cities. Cities where golf is prevalent. Cities where people will, get behind, or cities where there's a home course, maybe, of some sorts for all of these teams. All of the details aren't exactly ironed out, but this is the foundation of it. 16 teams, four players on each team, 64 golfers. You choose which players play which events. Now, I'll get to that in a second. Now, you basically have 2 starters and 2 reserve players, or just 4 total golfers, and they choose which ones they want to go to. So it starts off with group play. Best ball. 3 days, each team plays best ball match. Top 2 teams advance from each group. Pretty simple, right? Play best ball, 1 match against all 3 other teams in your pool, in your group. Top 2 teams advance. Now you're down to 32 teams. Round of 32, the round of 16 in the quarterfinals will all be one weekend as well. So you see how I'm not making this live golf championships. I also should have mentioned that it was not called the Live Golf League anymore. It's called the Live Golf Championship. 54, like Live, you still play 54 holes. That's fine. We can keep all that in there. That's fine. But this is called the Live Golf Championship. So group play is one weekend. All the pool play for all the brackets. You play best ball, 2v2 straight up. Now that's where I talked about where you have 4 players. If you want to play the same 2 guys all 3 matches, go for it. If you want to go, one team play, you can mix them up. You can go 2 guys here, 2 guys there, and then pick your 2 best guys for the 3rd match. Whatever, you know what I mean? You can mix it up, but there's 4 guys on each team, so you choose which guys play in each match. Group play, you play all 3 teams, so maybe each team gets a match. Round of 32, round of 16, and quarterfinals all in the same weekend. The round of 32, alternate shot, single elimination on Friday. I love the alternate shot because we're looking for who's the best team of golfers. 4 of them put together, and alt shot is a huge indicator of, a team. So that's on Friday. Saturday is the round of 16. Best ball. All of these are single elimination now. Obviously, we're in the elimination round. So round of 32, you play. You get matched up. Everyone can be seeded, or just put them in a hat like the Champions League does. Whatever the case may be. Round of 16 is Saturday. It's back to best ball, single elimination. So maybe 2 of your guys are better at alt shot, and 2 of your guys are better at best ball. You know what I mean? Like there's some strategy that I'm trying to invoke here for this Live Golf Championship team-only league. So that's the round of 16. So now we're down to 8 teams on the quarterfinals, which is Sunday. Single elimination, alternate shot on Sunday. I think that would be awesome. It's almost like I believe it's the Friday. No. It's basically like the final regional game of March Madness, where each team gets to go to the final. You get to find out which team is going to the Final Four from each bracket. That's what that quarterfinal alt shot Sunday would be. So now you're down to 4 teams. So keep in mind, these are not 3 straight weekends. These are sprinkled in within the PGA Tour schedule when they deem fit, not around the majors and not around the signature events. We're talking about 3 weekends I need here. 3 of them. Just 3 weekends. And it's really only not we only need 7 days actually to finish this Live Golf Championships. So it shouldn't be that hard to fit it around the schedule. So we're down to the semifinals now. This is when it gets fun. It's best ball Friday, alt shot Saturday, best ball Sunday. But it's 3 matches. 3 of them of the same teams going against each other. Now the scoring and all that stuff would have to be, figured out, because we could end up in a half-half tie. Maybe it's like a, 1-hole choose your fighter, par 3. You know what I mean? Like I kind of like these ideas of if there's a tie, there can be tiebreakers figured out here that can be really fun for the audience to watch. Similar to what you guessed it, penalty kicks in soccer. I'm just saying, we can mix some things in here that can make this less about traditional stroke play, 72-hole golf, and more similar to what people on the weekends play. There's so many golf games out there that we could decide, what's the tiebreaker, eliminator, But that's your semifinals. Is best ball. I guess I need 4 weekends. I need 4 weekends, okay? Best ball Friday, alternate shot Saturday, best ball Sunday. So now we're down to 2 teams playing for the championship, 2 teams playing for third place. Now, you're asking, why is there a third place match? I think it would be cool to have a little, we can, the third place match is possibly just TV filler, and it can be scratched if needed. But what I thought the championship day should be, 1 day. It's 1 day. You play alternate shot and best ball. And my idea for the third place match was just 18 holes best ball. Whoever gets third, big payout prize. Because I think you got to incentivize the golfers to do this. So that's why I had a third place match, is that there can be prize money for the third place team, the second place team, and the first place team. So I think that would be fun. If you just had a third place match, 18 holes best ball right before the championship. I'm just saying, the championship day is 36 holes. So this is where 4 players can be crucial, because you could see all 4 guys play on the Sunday. 2 of them play alt shot, 2 of them play best ball. I think this is a phenomenal idea. It's 4 weekends. You have the group play weekend, you have the round of 32, round of 16 quarterfinals weekend. Then you have the semifinals weekend, and then you have the championship Sunday. I like this idea. I think that golf needs, and this is a style that you can still use the Live Golf global aspect of going to all these courses around the world. Now, I know the golfers won't love it, but I think there would be real passion around match play only in a league, alternate shot or best ball. Like, that is what every weekend golfer does. They usually they usually get 3 buddies and they go 2v2 match play, or they go 1-on-1. I think people would relate to this a lot. You just go a straight team golf league. Stop with the fucking nonsense of the individualized score that lead up to a team score. That's just dumb as fuck. It's dumb. Let's just make it a straight team event. 16 teams, 64 golfers, group play, round of 32, round of 16, quarterfinals, semifinals, championship. It is the foundation of the March Madness bracket put into a golf style, combined with what the Champions League is in terms of global game, in terms of global appeal. I love this idea. I'm passionate about this idea. I want to see more team golf. That is what I want to see more of. And you would say, oh, it'll water down the Ryder Cup or the President's Cup. It won't, because you could have guys you could have a team of 4 Americans, or you could have a team of an American, a guy from England, a guy from Ireland, and a guy from Canada. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like, we could see something fun here. And it might actually make the Ryder Cup and the President's Cup a little bit more intriguing, because we're going to be like, well, we know that pair, dominated during the Live Golf Live Golf Championship season. They made it to the, quarterfinals, and they lost to this, pairing. Like, I just think it can create more dialogue, and it's more traditional to what American or North American sports recognize. But I also think you attack the European crowd as well, because they understand the style of Champions League soccer. I think it's great. I love it. 16 teams, 64 golfers. We always say we don't need these events with 140 players, 120 players. Well, how about this? Give me the 64 best. And the beauty of this is that is up to the team owners to decide. You can now, Live Golf talked forever about wanting to sell these franchises. This is a way you can actually sell these fucking franchises, because you can make money. You do it just like other sports. You have a salary cap. You make it fair for all the other teams. 16 of them, 16 different owners, and you sign contracts. We signed Rory McIlroy to a 2-year, whatever $1 million contract. We just signed Max Homa to a 3-year deal. He's our team captain, leader. Like this, I love this idea. And when you only have 64 of them, it'll make these guys competitive, because they're going to want to stay in the league. I think these guys like match play. I think they get bored with 72-hole stroke play. Let's mix in the Live Golf Championship League. I'm for this. I think it might need some, working around the edges and some cleaning up. But a foundation, I think, is there. You need 4 weekends. That's it. You're telling me there's not 4 events that these superstar tour players play that they go, yeah, I'd rather just go play a match play event. That sounds sick. I'm telling you, I think this could be a future play for the PGA Tour that could be very, very successful for them. And you still keep the Saudi Arabian, money involved with the Live. It's still their league in partnership with the PGA Tour, and they take it to the nicest courses in the world. They put all the money behind it. And I think the music makes more sense with a match play style event. Now, the music can also be cut out if there's crowds that are, super amped up and into the event. I'm gonna finish talking here about this, but I love this idea. Live Golf Championship, team only, 64 golfers, 16 teams. You play group play, round of 32, round of 16, quarterfinals, semifinals, championship. All match play, alternate shot or best ball. There it is. That's my proposition for how I think we can fix professional golf. Starts with everybody going back to the PGA Tour, and the PGA Tour paying the players what they're worth, and also the players that left maybe taking a hit on FedEx Cup points or giving a certain dollar amount back. I don't know what it is, but the game is not better off now than it was when Live Golf was created. I think since the introduction of Live Golf, if we can keep the foundation of, the branding and everything that's already there, let's just change up the style of what we do a little bit. Well, another episode, One Way Sports in the books. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. Apologies that this one's a little bit longer. Got passionate about a couple topics here, and didn't expect it to be that long. But coming up on Friday, big UFC pay-per-view week. Alex Poatan Pereira, Khalil Roundtree, Salt Lake City, UFC 307. Preview coming up on Friday. NFL preview coming up on Friday. P-Way's parlays. Might be in the lab this week, fellas. Trying to cook something up here for you guys. Enjoy playoff baseball these next couple of days. We already got a great game with the Braves and Mets to get into the playoffs. I'm just finished watching the Tigers beat the Astros. What a story the Tigers are. Look that story up if you haven't already. I believe they were 31-11 their last 42 games to make the playoffs. Royals, Baltimore going on right now. Mets, Brewers, lots of playoff baseball. We'll wait to jump into that until later. But once again, much love to all you guys for listening, tuning in, sharing with your friends. Always love doing these things for you. Hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Give me some feedback on who you think should be the Heisman Trophy winner, who you're picking to win the divisions, what you think of the Live Golf Championship League, and everything else we talked about today. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. This has been another episode of One Way Sports. I'm P-Way. See you guys on Friday.